Hi everybody, in this short video, I want to just walk through how I'd like you to do the second read through and do an example with you so you know what I'm looking for. Again, this is a little bit different than we would normally do an article of the week because we're reading it on a website rather than having it in a document. So rather than adding it in as a comment, we're just going to record our thinking here in this table. But it's the same thinking process that I want you to do. Remember, in read through number 2, we're focusing on vocabulary. And we're looking for either unfamiliar words to us or maybe words that are just really interesting. And we're going to put them here in our table and we're going to use the CPR strategy to break them down. And just to remind you, the CPR strategy reminds you to take a word and first start with the context, looking for clues around the word that might help us know what it means. Then looking inside the word at the parts, and then finally making a guess about what we think the word might mean, and then looking it up in a reference tool to compare what our thinking was with what the word's definition actually is. So let's do that together. I'm going to open up the article here at the top. You can just click here on the title. And we're just going to read through this article now a second time. We should have already read through it once, doing the first read through. Now we're doing it a second time. And when we get to a word that I think might be a great word to break down or that is unfamiliar to me, I'll go ahead and stop and identify that word. Severe flooding is affecting an estimated 800,000 people across a wide swath of South Sudan, inundating homes and leaving people without adequate food, water, or shelter. Now, already in this first sentence, I saw this word inundating right here. So I just highlighted it. I'm going to Control C, and I'm going to take this word. Inundating is not a word that you hear a lot, and I think that would be a great word for us to break down. Control V, and I just put the word inundating into my table. So now we're going to use the CPR strategy to figure out maybe, or to break down, what does inundating mean? So the first thing we're going to do is we're doing our CPR strategy. We're going to start with context. Context is all the words around a word. So what other words around inundating might help us guess its meaning? So let's go back and look at the context. Well, at the beginning of the sentence, it says severe flooding. So we know that we have severe flooding. It says across a wide swath of South Sudan. It's the place that's being inundated is homes, okay? And then it's leaving people without food, water, or shelter. Okay, so I know inundating might have to do with flooding. It has to do with somehow how flooding is affecting the homes, and it's leaving people without shelter. So all of those things around might give me a good idea about what inundating means. I'm going to put some of those clues. So the word flooding gave me a clue. Also homes, and also leaving people without food, water, or shelter. So those are some context clues that helped me know it's probably something to do with how water from flooding is affecting homes. Maybe it means the water is like flowing into their houses, or it's washing away their houses, like parts of the house. Okay, so now let's go to the next part, P, parts. So what word parts within inundating might help us guess the meaning? And to help us with this, you can see right here I've linked to that same little word part dictionary that we used before. So I'd encourage you to use that. I'm going to just open it up in another tab here. And I definitely know this ending is meaning like an action of some sort, right? Something is happening, like walking, running, jumping, inundating. It's an action of some sort. But the main part that I see here is the prefix. The beginning of the word is in. Sometimes in can mean not, like something is incorrect, but sometimes it can mean like inside, like your internal organs, or like interior of a house. So I'm just going to look up in here and see what it says in this little word part dictionary. In this case, it's saying not, which it potentially could be. Um, and it can mean not, but it can also mean like into, like I was saying, like internal. And that's actually the meaning that I'm thinking it is. Also, I'll just put ing, the ing ending helps me know that this is some sort of action. So if I'm just looking at this inundating, I'm thinking it's like the action of like going in. Adding that to the context, right? It's saying it has to do with flooding, and it's happening to homes. Personally, when I put that together with the stem of like the action and then into, it makes me think inundating means like the water is like flowing into the houses. So that's what I'm gonna say. I think it means like flowing into or around the houses. Okay, so now that I made my guess here, now I'm going to do the last step of CPR, which is reference. That means to look it up and to measure my guess with the actual meaning. Now, you guys, I've linked here in the direction or in this box to my favorite online reference tool, which is called Learner's Dictionary. It's an awesome dictionary. And I'm just going to look up the word inundating. And it will always give you the present tense form of the verb. So we have the word inundate, which is the same form. It's just the present tense. Okay, and it says to cause someone or something to receive or take in a large amount of things at the same time. So hundreds of letters inundated the office. And you can see here, it almost means like flooded the office, or the salesman inundated them with information or overwhelmed. So, like, the word inundated can mean like flooded or overwhelmed. Number two, to cover something with a flood of water. That definition is actually even closer to what we're talking about um, in this article, right? Um, Rising rivers could inundate low-lying areas. This is saying that the flood was inundating homes. So the homes are, in a sense, being covered with water. All right, so now I'm going to go back here, and on the reference step, if you got it pretty close, if your guess is pretty close, you can just write like correct in the box right here, or put a check mark if you know how to add in a check mark symbol. But if you were a little bit off, you could also just write the definition. So I'm just going to take the second definition here and type it in. I mean, we were pretty close, but to cover something with a flood of water. Good. Okay, so we finished the first one, inundating. Now your job is to go back into the article and keep on reading and choose 3 more vocabulary words to pull out and do the CPR strategy with. All right, thanks.